The massive alien ship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a dark metal mountain floating in the void. Commander Kethvar stood on the bridge of his dreadnought Void Sovereign and watched the primitive blue planet. Through his tactical screens, he had conquered 17 worlds before this one, and Earth looked no different from all the others, deep beneath the mountains of Colorado. Admiral Lisa Kane sat in her command center, surrounded by glowing screens and worried faces. The first alien message had arrived 30 minutes ago, and now every government leader on Earth waited for her response. The alien transmission was clear and simple: surrender within 72 hours or face complete destruction. Aliens had sent technical data about their weapons as proof of their power. Their energy cannons could crack continents, and their fleet carried enough firepower to turn Earth's surface into molten glass. Most species would have begged for mercy by now, but Admiral Kane was not most people. Captain Maya Collins worked frantically at her analysis station, studying every detail of the alien technology. The data revealed something important. These aliens used the same weapons and tactics as 17 other conquered species. They were not innovators, but scavengers who stole technology and followed the same battle plans over and over. Admiral Kane made her decision. She opened a channel to the alien fleet and transmitted a set of coordinates in deep space along with a simple message: "If you want Earth, come and take it, we will be waiting." The transmission ended and silence filled the command center. Commander Kethvar received the human response with complete confusion. No species had ever sent him coordinates before. Most surrendered immediately, or sent desperate pleas for their lives, but never had anyone issued what seemed like a challenge. His officers whispered among themselves, trying to understand what the primitive humans were thinking on Earth. The most secret project in human history began to activate. The Deep Space Defense Initiative was a fleet that officially did not exist. Hidden in asteroid fields and dark nebulae around the solar system, dozens of advanced warships powered up their engines and began moving toward the coordinates. Admiral Kane had transmitted. Captain Amy Foster commanded the stealth carrier, UES Phantom, from her position in the outer asteroid belt. Her ship and crew had trained for this moment for over 10 years, using technology that made them invisible to alien sensors. They could hide in plain sight, appearing as nothing more than space rocks and cosmic dust. The alien fleet consisted of 12 massive dreadnoughts and over 300 smaller ships. Commander Kethvar had brought enough firepower to destroy a dozen worlds, but something felt wrong about this situation. Humans were supposed to be primitive, barely capable of spaceflight. Yet their response suggested they had a plan. Admiral Kane knew something the aliens did not. Earth had been watching the galaxy for decades through quantum telescopes that could see across vast distances. They had observed the Zephyrian conquest of world after world, studying their methods and learning their weaknesses. Every human ship and weapon had been designed specifically to fight these particular enemies. The coordinates led to an empty region of space, far from any planet or star. Commander Kethvar expected to find a small, desperate human fleet attempting some kind of heroic last stand. Instead, his sensors showed nothing but cosmic debris and background radiation. Perhaps the humans had fled or never intended to fight at all. What Commander Kethvar did not know was that Captain Nicole Rivera and her stealth destroyer UES Wraith were already moving into position less than a kilometer from his flagship. Her advanced cloaking systems made her ship appear as a piece of drifting metal, while her weapons charged silently in preparation for the coming battle. The human plan was unlike anything any alien species had ever attempted. Instead of building bigger weapons or stronger shields, Earth had focused on intelligence and coordination. Every human captain knew exactly what their enemies would do because they had studied Zephyrian tactics for years. Commander Kethvar ordered his fleet to the coordinates, reluctantly bringing his ships out of hyperspace in a standard battle formation. He still could not understand why the humans had chosen to meet him in empty space far from their homeworld. It seemed like tactical suicide for a primitive species. Captain Rachel Torres sat in her experimental fighter craft, watching the alien fleet arrive through her enhanced sensors. Her squadron of 12 pilots represented the most advanced combat training in human history. Each pilot could think and react faster than any alien commander, and their ships were designed to exploit every weakness in Zephyrian technology. As the alien fleet settled into position, Commander Kethvar sent one final transmission to Earth demanding immediate surrender. The response came not from Admiral Kane, but from Captain Emma Watson aboard her fast attack ship, UES Lightning. Her message was short and direct. Your 72 hours are over. Now you face the consequences. The trap was set and Commander Kethvar had walked directly into it. Humanity had turned the galaxy's most successful predators into prey, without them even realizing. And the battle for Earth was about to begin, but not in the way anyone expected. Commander Kethvar scanned the empty space around his fleet with growing unease. His sensors detected nothing but cosmic dust and radiation, yet something felt terribly wrong. The humans had chosen this location for a reason, and he could not figure out what that reason might be. Captain Amy Foster watched the alien fleet from her hidden position aboard the UES Phantom. Her stealth carrier appeared as nothing more than a large asteroid drifting through space. But inside her hull waited 40 of the most advanced fighter craft ever built. Each pilot had trained for this exact scenario. The Zephyrian commander deployed his ships in the same formation he had used to conquer 17 worlds. His dreadnoughts formed a protective wall while smaller ships spread out to cover all approaches. It was a proven strategy that had never failed him before, but he had never fought. Humans. Admiral Kane observed the battle preparations from her flagship, UES Retribution, positioned behind a nebula cloud that masked her ship's energy signature. She had spent 15 years studying alien conquest patterns, and every Zephyrian move matched her predictions perfectly. They were following their programming like machines. Captain Nicole Rivera moved her stealth destroyer closer to the alien flagship while her ship remained invisible to their sensors. The UES Wraith carried weapons designed specifically to penetrate Zephyrian shields and armor. But the real battle would be won through superior tactics, not superior firepower. The aliens had expected to find a primitive human fleet making a desperate last stand. Instead, they found empty space and silence. Commander Kethvar began to suspect the humans had fled, rather than face his overwhelming power. His officers suggested the coordinates had been a bluff designed to buy time. What the aliens could not see were the 30 human warships surrounding their fleet like ghosts in the darkness. Each ship used advanced cloaking technology that bent light and energy around their hulls, making them appear as natural space phenomena. Their captains waited for Admiral Kane's. Signal Captain Maya Collins had analyzed every detail of Zephyrian technology and found their greatest weakness. They relied on overwhelming force and intimidation rather than tactical innovation. Their ships were powerful but predictable, and their commanders followed the same battle plans that had worked for centuries. The human fleet represented a completely different approach to warfare. Instead of building massive dreadnoughts, Earth had created smaller, faster ships that could work together as a single coordinated entity. Each captain could think independently while remaining connected to the overall battle plan. Commander Kethvar sent scanning pulses in all directions trying to locate the human fleet. His instruments showed nothing unusual, just the normal background noise of deep space. He began to wonder if the humans had ever intended to fight, or if this was some kind of primitive psychological warfare. Captain Rachel Torres and her fighter squadron remained hidden inside Captain Foster's carrier, waiting for the moment to strike. Her pilots had studied recordings of Zephyrian fighter tactics until they could predict every move. The aliens were skilled, but they had never faced an enemy that knew their every weakness. The quantum communication system linked every human ship, allowing them to share information instantly. When one captain spotted an alien weakness, every other captain knew about it within seconds. This networked intelligence made the human fleet far more dangerous than the sum of its individual ships. Admiral Kane had learned something important from watching the Zephyrians conquer other worlds. They always followed the same pattern. First, overwhelming displays of power, then demands for surrender, then systematic destruction if their demands were refused. But humans refused to follow alien expectations. Captain Emma Watson positioned her fast attack squadron at the edge of sensor range, ready to cut off any escape routes. The UES Lightning and her sister ships carried experimental engines that could outrun anything in the alien fleet. If the Zephyrians tried to flee, they would find their path blocked. The alien fleet had enough firepower to destroy a dozen worlds, but all that power meant nothing if they could not find their targets. Commander Kethvar had never faced an enemy that could remain completely invisible while surrounding his entire fleet. The tactical advantage belonged entirely to the humans. Captain Kelly Moore prepared her boarding teams aboard the assault transport UES Thunder. Her Marines carried weapons and equipment designed specifically for fighting in alien ship environments. They had studied Zephyrian ship layouts and knew exactly where to strike for maximum effect. The moment of truth was approaching, and Commander Kethvar still believed he faced a primitive species, making empty threats. He had no idea that every human captain knew exactly what he would do next, because they had studied his tactics for over a decade. Admiral Kane opened a communication channel to all human ships and spoke the words that would change galactic history forever. Ghost Fleet Protocol is now active. All ships prepare for coordinated strike. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth had been preparing for war. The battle began with surgical precision rather than massive explosions. Captain Nicole Rivera fired the first shot from her stealth destroyer UES Wraith, targeting the communication array of the alien flagship. Her quantum torpedo phased through the Zephyrian shields as if they did not exist. Commander Kethvar watched in horror as his primary communication system exploded without any visible cause. His sensors had detected no incoming weapons, no attacking ships, yet his most important system was destroyed. The attack seemed to come from empty space itself. Captain Amy Foster launched her fighter squadron from the hidden carrier, UES Phantom 40. Advanced fighters suddenly appeared around the alien fleet, like deadly insects emerging. From the darkness, each pilot knew exactly which target to hit and when to strike for maximum devastating effect. The human weapons were unlike anything the Zephyrians had encountered before. Instead of trying to overwhelm alien shields with brute force, the quantum torpedoes simply ignored the protective barriers and exploded inside enemy hulls. The aliens' superior defensive technology became completely useless. Captain Rachel Torres led her fighter wing in a coordinated attack against the alien sensor networks. Her pilots moved like a school of fish, turning and striking as one entity. Their advanced artificial intelligence systems shared targeting data, instantly making every shot count. Commander Kethvar tried to deploy his reserve squadrons but found them already under attack by enemies that had not been there moments before. Human ships seemed to materialize from nowhere, strike with devastating accuracy, then vanish back into the darkness like hunting predators. The alien fleet had been designed to intimidate primitive civilizations into immediate surrender, but humans refused to be intimidated. Their tactics were fluid and adaptive, changing constantly to exploit new weaknesses as they discovered them during the battle. Captain Maya Collins coordinated the human attack from her position aboard Admiral Kane's flagship. Her tactical computers predicted every alien move based on years of studying Zephyrian combat patterns. When the aliens tried strategy number 7, the humans were already prepared with countermeasure number 7. The Zephyrian dreadnoughts fired their massive energy cannons into empty space, trying to hit the invisible human ships, but their targeting systems could not lock onto enemies. They could not see the humans had turned the aliens' greatest strength against them. Captain Emma Watson brought her fast attack squadron into the battle from an unexpected direction. Her ships, UES Lightning, and 3 sister vessels appeared behind the alien formation and began systematically destroying their engine systems. The Zephyrians found themselves unable to maneuver. Every human ship operated as part of a larger intelligence network. When Captain Rivera discovered a weakness in alien armor plating, every other captain knew about it within seconds. The human fleet learned and adapted faster than any enemy the Zephyrians had ever faced. The aliens tried their proven tactic of concentrating firepower on human command ships, but discovered that every human vessel could operate independently. Each captain had been trained to think like Admiral Kane, making the human fleet impossible to decapitate. Commander Kethvar realized with growing terror that his unstoppable conquest machine was being systematically dismantled by an enemy he could barely see. The humans were not just winning, they were making the battle look easy. Captain Kelly Moore demonstrated human psychological warfare capabilities by broadcasting the battle to other Zephyrian fleets across the galaxy using captured alien communication systems. Every other alien commander could watch their supposedly invincible technology being destroyed by primitive humans. The quantum communication network allowed human pilots to coordinate attacks that seemed impossible. Individual fighters working together could disable ships 100 times their size because they shared perfect information about enemy weaknesses. Admiral Kane had prepared for this battle for 15 years, studying every detail of Zephyrian tactics and technology. The aliens were powerful but predictable, while humans had trained to be unpredictable and adaptive. The alien flagship Dark Conquest tried to escape the battle zone but found its path, blocked by Captain Watson and her squadron. The massive dreadnought was trapped like a whale surrounded by sharks and just as helpless against coordinated attack. Captain Torres and her experimental fighter craft demonstrated the ultimate human advantage: adaptability. Her squadron did not just attack, they learned from each engagement, sharing tactical data that made them more dangerous with every passing minute. The Zephyrian fleet began to crumble under the relentless coordinated assault. Ships that had conquered worlds found themselves helpless against an enemy that refused to fight by the established rules of galactic warfare. Commander Kethvar sent a desperate signal to his home fleet requesting immediate reinforcement, but Captain Rivera had already jammed all long-range communications. The Zephyrians were cut off from help and facing an enemy that seemed to know their every move before they made it. The Dark Conquest exploded in a brilliant fireball as human torpedoes found its reactor core. The destruction of the second most powerful ship in the alien fleet sent a clear message to every watching species. Earth would not be conquered. As the first phase of battle ended, the aliens found themselves facing a terrible truth. They had expected to fight primitives, but instead had encountered the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Commander Kethvar ordered his remaining ships to retreat, but discovered that Captain Emma Watson had anticipated this move. Her fast attack squadron, UES Lightning, and sister ships blocked every escape route. The aliens found themselves trapped in a cage made of human warships. The Zephyrian commander tried every strategy that had worked across 17 conquered worlds. He ordered his ships to form defensive circles, concentrate firepower on single targets, and use their superior numbers to overwhelm the human fleet. But every tactic failed spectacularly. Admiral Kane had studied the psychology of alien conquest as much as their technology. She knew that species like the Zephyrians relied on fear and intimidation to win battles before they began. But humans had learned to turn that fear back on their enemies. Captain Nicole Rivera brought her stealth destroyer closer to the alien flagship while remaining completely invisible to their sensors. The UES Wraith could have destroyed the command ship at any moment, but Admiral Kane wanted the alien commander alive to serve as a witness. The human fleet operated like a single living organism with Admiral Kane as its brain and every ship as a specialized organ. Each captain knew their role perfectly and could adapt to changing conditions without losing coordination with the overall battle plan. Captain Amy Foster launched wave after wave of fighters from her carrier, UES Phantom. Each squadron had a specific mission: destroy engines, disable weapons systems, or capture important alien personnel. The attacks came from all directions, making defense impossible. Commander Kethvar tried to use human civilians as leverage by threatening to destroy Earth's colonies, but discovered that humanity had prepared for this tactic. Earth colonies had their own defensive fleets that were just as advanced as the home fleet. Captain Maya Collins monitored alien communications and discovered something interesting. The Zephyrian fleet was transmitting battle data to their homeworld, which meant other alien species across the galaxy were watching humanity destroy their most feared military force. The aliens attempted to ram human ships with their damaged vessels, hoping to take some enemies down with them, but human pilots were too skilled and their ships too maneuverable. The desperate kamikaze attacks accomplished nothing except further demonstrating alien desperation. Captain Rachel Torres and her fighter squadron demonstrated advanced combat techniques that no alien pilot could match. They flew in impossible formations, made turns that should have killed them, and coordinated attacks that seemed to defy the laws of physics. The quantum torpedo attacks continued systematically, destroying alien ships from the inside. Their shields and armor meant nothing against weapons that could phase through matter. The Zephyrians had no defense against technology they did not understand. Admiral Kane opened communication channels to broadcast the battle across the galaxy using captured alien networks. Every species that had ever feared Zephyrian conquest could watch their oppressors being systematically destroyed by a species they had never heard of. Captain Kelly Moore led boarding parties onto damaged alien ships. Her Marines moved through enemy corridors like they had been born there, following detailed maps created from years of intelligence gathering. The aliens found their own ships turned against them. The human, psychological warfare campaign was as devastating as their physical attacks. Commander Kethvar could hear his own crew losing confidence as report after report confirmed that their supposedly superior technology was useless against human tactics. Captain Emma Watson demonstrated the final human advantage, mercy coupled with overwhelming strength. When alien crews abandoned their ships, human vessels rescued them rather than leaving them to die in space. This unexpected kindness confused and demoralized the remaining Zephyrian forces. The alien fleet that had conquered 17 worlds found itself being treated like a training exercise for human military academies. Every attack was predicted, every defense was penetrated, and every escape route was blocked. Commander Kethvar realized that humanity had not just prepared to fight one battle, they had prepared to change the entire balance of power in the galaxy. The humans were making an example of his fleet to warn every other aggressive species. The surviving Zephyrian ships were systematically disabled rather than destroyed. Human boarding parties captured alien technology personnel and battle records. Everything would be studied to improve human defenses against future threats. Captain Torres led the final assault against the alien command structure. Her fighters swarmed around the flagship like angry bees, disabling its weapons engines and life support systems. The mighty Void, Sovereign, was reduced to a helpless metal shell drifting. In space, Admiral Kane prepared to address the galaxy through captured alien communication networks. Her message would be simple and clear. Earth was open to peaceful contact, but any species that approached with conquest in mind would face the same fate. The battle was ending not with the destruction of the alien fleet, but with something far more devastating to alien morale: complete and total capture. Every surviving Zephyrian would become a witness to human military superiority. The battle ended with complete human victory, but Admiral Kane had achieved something far more important than destroying an enemy fleet. She had demonstrated to the entire galaxy that Earth was not a primitive world waiting to be conquered, but a military superpower that had been preparing for war. Captain Kelly Moore led the final boarding operations aboard the alien flagship, Void Sovereign. Her Marines moved through the corridors with practiced efficiency, capturing alien crew members and securing important technology. Commander Kethvar surrendered without resistance, realizing that further fighting was hopeless. The human fleet revealed itself fully for the first time, dropping their cloaking systems to show the aliens exactly how completely they had been surrounded. 30 advanced warships materialized around the captured Zephyrian fleet, like predators emerging from the shadows. Admiral Kane opened communication channels to address not just the defeated alien fleet, but every species in the galaxy. Her message was broadcast through captured Zephyrian networks, reaching dozens of worlds that had lived in fear of conquest. The Admiral's words were simple and direct. Earth welcomes peaceful contact and trade with all galactic civilizations, but any species that approaches our worlds with weapons and demands for surrender will face the complete destruction of their military forces. Commander Kethvar was brought before Admiral Kane, not as a prisoner, but as a messenger. She offered him a choice: serve as an ambassador for a new galactic order, where aggression was met with overwhelming retaliation, or face trial for the genocide of 17 innocent civilizations. Captain Amy Foster received new orders to lead the newly formed Galactic Defense Initiative. Her carrier, UES Phantom, would become the flagship of a fleet dedicated to hunting down aggressive species before they could threaten peaceful worlds. The tactical recordings of the battle were copied and prepared for distribution to every known civilization in the galaxy. The message was clear. Humanity had studied their enemies, learned their weaknesses, and developed tactics that made superior technology irrelevant. Captain Maya Collins revealed the true scope of human preparation. Earth's quantum telescopes had been monitoring the galaxy for decades, identifying aggressive species and tracking their movements. Humanity knew about 47 different alien fleets currently heading toward human space. Admiral Kane announced that Earth would not wait for the next invasion. Human fleets were already being prepared to visit every aggressive species in the galaxy, carrying the same message they had delivered to the Zephyrian surrender. Your conquest fleets or face their complete destruction. Captain Nicole Rivera and her stealth destroyer UES Wraith were assigned to the first diplomatic mission visiting the Korvax Empire, whose fleet was only 6 months away from human space. They would deliver Commander Kethvar and the battle recordings as proof of human capabilities. The surviving Zephyrian crew members were given medical treatment and proper food before being transported back to their homeworlds. They would serve as living witnesses to human military power and the consequences of choosing conquest over cooperation. Captain Rachel Torres received command of a new experimental fighter wing, equipped with even more advanced technology. Her squadron would spearhead humanity's expansion into the galaxy, carrying the message that Earth was now the dominant military power. The galactic balance of power had shifted completely in a single battle. Species that had ruled through fear and intimidation now faced an enemy that was immune to intimidation and had turned their own tactics against them. Admiral Kane established new protocols for contact with alien civilizations. Any species that approached human space peacefully would be welcomed and offered trade agreements, but any species that came with weapons would be met with immediate, overwhelming force. Captain Emma Watson and her fast attack squadron were assigned to patrol the outer edges of human space, watching for approaching threats and ready to intercept any hostile fleets before they could reach populated worlds. The human victory had been so complete and so public that it changed the psychology of the entire galaxy. Species that had never heard of Earth suddenly knew that humans were not to be underestimated or threatened. Captain Kelly Moore established training programs for other species that wanted to learn human military tactics. The galaxy was being offered a choice: join the new peaceful order or face the consequences of continued aggression. Commander Kethvar accepted his role as ambassador and began preparing to visit other aggressive species with a simple message. The age of easy conquest was over, and humanity would enforce galactic peace through superior military power. Multiple human fleets departed Earth heading toward different alien empires. Each carried the same ultimatum: end your aggressive expansion, or face the same fate as the Zephyrian fleet. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity expected no surrender and would accept no threats. The story concluded with Earth transforming from a hidden primitive world into the galaxy's new peacekeeping superpower, ready to protect innocent civilizations and punish those who chose conquest over cooperation.